Okay, so since we have two past tenses in Spanish, we've got to learn the differences between them. I know it seems kind of silly to learn the rules and the regulations for this past tense because we only know this one, and you know I'm only going to give you problems where you use this one, but we need to go ahead and start putting these uses to memory, and it's going to make it a lot easier whenever we learn the imperfecto, or the second past tense we have in Spanish. So the very first rule is when you want to indicate a single event that took place in the past, okay, and the actions began and ended in the past. Okay, so let's look at some of the examples that we have. So we have yo and comprar un carro nuevo. Okay, so we want to say I bought, so bought a new car. Okay, so this action is over and done with in the past. So the action began in the past when you bought it, and it ended in the past whenever you signed the paper. So it is done with, it is not currently going on. So comprar is an AR verb, and we want to use the yo form, so it's going to be compré. So yo compré un carro nuevo. Now let's look at this one. We want to say you ate a sandwich. The action is over and done with, began and ended in the past. Okay, so we're going to use the to form of ER verbs. So we're going to do tu comiste un sándwich. So you ate a sandwich. The action is done, finished with. Now let's look at the second rule. To indicate the beginning or an end of the action in the past. So when something began, like you were born, okay, so that began your life, it happened in the past. Or when something ended, like school was over, or school ended in the summer, okay. So action that is over and done with. Let's look at our examples. We have la película, and then we have our verb terminar, so the movie ended with a surprise, okay? So the movie ended, it's over, done with. So we want to use the AR ending for a he, and so it's going to be terminó. So la película terminó con una sorpresa. Muy bien. So let's look at the next one. Empezar, so we have a verb to begin, a nevar, so it began to snow. So we're going to use our it form, so empezó a nevar. Okay, this is an action that began in the past. Moving on to our third example. To narrate a chain of events that began and ended in the past. So if you're going through a list of stuff that you did, like I woke up late, I ran to school, I ate breakfast really fast, I sprinted to first block. So things that are over and done with, but it's just a chain of events, like how your day was going. This is going to be in the past tense as well. So let's look at this one. Okay, so we have some reflexive verbs. We haven't done reflexive verbs yet. It's exactly the same way. We take off the say, change it to match our subject, stick it in the front, and now we're just going to add our preterite ending. So it's exactly the same. So it's going to be yo me levante, because it's an AR verb and we want the yo ending. So I got up. Then we have me bañé, I took a shower, and I left for the party. So we're going to have salí because it's an IR verb. So things that happened in the past, just a chain of events, but they're all over and done with. Okay, let's look at the next example. Okay, so we have el and entrar. So we're going to do el entró, el bebió un vaso de agua y comió una hamburguesa. So he entered, he drank a glass of water, and then he ate a hamburger. So a sequence of events, but they've all started in the past and ended in the past, so they're over and done with. And the very last thing is to indicate an action that has happened at a specific time or for a specific amount of time. So for this one, nosotros, and then we have vivir in Peru por 3 meses, okay, for 3 months. So that's a specific amount of time that they lived in Peru. So we're going to use the preterite here. So it's going to be nosotros vivimos en Peru por 3 meses. Right here, tu regresar, so you return, a la medianoche, so you returned at midnight. Okay, so you returned at a specific time, you returned at 12 a.m. So it's going to be tu regresaste a la medianoche, so a specific time. Okay, our last few examples. We have ellos en escribir, so they wrote. 3 cartas ayer. So we have ayer, it's a yesterday, it's a specific amount of time. So ellos escribieron 3 cartas. Okay, so this lets us know that it's over, it's done with, it's completed. Then we had yo, and then llamar, to call, a la una. So I called at 1. It's a specific time, so it's going to be llamé. And right here, tu, and then llamar, again, to call, 2 veces, so 2 times. It's a specific amount of time, so it's going to be llamaste. So tu llamaste 2 veces, you called twice. We also have some preterite time phrases. So whenever you see these words in sentences, it's going to clue you in to know to use the preterite automatically. So these are giveaways whenever you see them that you know you're going to use the preterite whenever you have to decide between the 2 past tenses to use. So let's go over what some of what they mean, and y'all should know most of these. So the first one is ayer, and it means yesterday. We have anoche, which means tonight. El año pasado, which means last year. And notice how I have año underlined. Okay, whenever that's happened, you can insert different words in there but still use that phrase. So if I didn't want to say last year, I wanted to say last week, I would change it to la semana pasada. So I can change año for any specific amount of time. We have esta mañana, which means this morning, and esta tarde, which means this afternoon, and ese momento, which means at this exact moment. We have a las 2, a las 3, a las 4, a las 5, which means like at 5, at 6, at 7, at 8. Remember, we don't use son here, we just use a, because the a replaces son. We have anteayer, which means the day before yesterday. Después means after. El martes pasado, which means last Tuesday, and you can insert any day of the week here. So el lunes pasado means last Monday, el viernes pasado, last Friday, and so on. And then we have hace 2 días. This literally means it makes 2 days. So we don't say that in English, we just say 2 days ago. So hace 2 días means 2 days ago. To say 2 months ago, we're going to say hace 2 meses or hace 2 años. So we can change dos to whatever number we need to. And then we can change the time reference to make it match what we need to. And then at the bottom, por 3 meses, so for 3 months, we can change the number as well to whatever we need to. And then we can also change meses to match like day, year, week. So por 3 meses for 3 weeks, por 2 años for 2 years. So whenever you see these time phrases, you're going to know automatically to use our new preterite tense because it's something that's over, it's done with, it happened in the past, and it's ended in the past. So I hope that helps, and it's going to make a lot more sense once we learn our next past tense. But for right now, just go ahead and learn these rules, and you'll be set whenever we get to the next chapter.